Garnett Show. Here to recreate. The AKIA GARNETT Show. Inspiring and empower you, giving you the tools to build your brand. It's a new day for a new way to bring your vision to pass.
This is a special edition of the AKIA GARNETT Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to be spending time today with someone from the Embassy of the Republic of Liberia in the United States of America. His name is Gabriel Williams. He's the Minister Counselor for Press and Public Affairs, and he's in charge of public diplomacy. He and I are going to be talking about the Ebola crisis and what's taking place on the ground in Liberia and also on the ground in the United States. There is a great amount of excitement around the continent of Africa as a whole. It's a beautiful continent. I'm very, very excited to always spend time there when I go, and also when I am communicating with others on the continent, primarily in West Africa, about the economic growth and development, all of the construction and new infrastructure that's being laid out and taking place so that we can increase commerce, and we can also begin to do more trading, exporting and importing to the continent. And so I'm excited about all of the development that's taking place in Africa. And of course, it hurts my heart and breaks my heart to see what's happening with the Ebola crisis. Now, the person that I'm speaking with today, Gabriel Williams, has also served as the Deputy Minister of Public Affairs for the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism in Monrovia, Liberia, before this assignment that he has with the Republic of Liberia Embassy in the States. In the past, he's also served as a career journalist and managing editor for the Inquirer newspaper in Liberia, which was one of the top newspapers that people look to for daily news and information. Thank you so much for being on with me today, Gabriel. Thank you for accepting an invitation to talk about what's taking place with regards to the Ebola virus and the spread of it.
It is indeed my pleasure to be with you, and I'm delighted to be on. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Now, before we jump into some of the details regarding help that's going forward on Ebola, can you just tell us a little bit about the start of this, just for people who may just be jumping in and saying, all this stuff about Ebola that I'm seeing all over the place, where did this come from? And how can I get a quick history of it so that I can jump in and see how I can help? I know that's what many people are thinking, so can you give us that quick rundown in reference to that first case that took place with a woman who, I guess, was going to a funeral in a nearby country, and how that started now what is looking like an epidemic?
Yes, indeed. This unfortunate situation regarding the Ebola actually began to spread in Liberia, just as you indicated, starting with this woman who had gone across the border from Liberia to one of the neighboring countries to attend the funeral of a family member. And it's important for your listeners to understand that traditionally there are a number of ceremonies and rites, religious or traditional, that are performed at the time of death of a person. And those rites include, touching of the body, the bathing of the body, and preparing the body, for, public display. And in the process, of course, as you know, as we are all beginning to find out, Ebola is transmitted by fluid and interacting with, a dead person or an individual who is already infected by the disease. So this is how, going to this ceremony, funeral of a loved one across the border, she contracted it and returned across the border back into Liberia, and then, infect the whole family. And this is the beginning of how this whole Ebola crisis started in Liberia.
Wow. And so can you just help me understand if you have access to the current situation report? I know that one comes out from the health ministry in reference to World Health Organizations and so forth. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare in Liberia, in partnership with the World Health Organization, that is, helping to coordinate the battle to contain this epidemic. The situation report as of September 2nd, 2014, shows that more than 3,300 people have been affected by the disease, and more than 1,700 people had died from it. So indeed, from one case, you now see these number of people who have already died from the disease, and this was from as late March, from around March to date. So you can imagine the incremental death rate, which reflects the deadly nature of this pandemic.
Yes, and the numbers that you've given and the situation report, does that pertain just to Liberia or to other countries?
This is just the figure for Liberia. The situation in neighboring Guinea and Sierra Leone, the death rate is a little under control, and for some reason, the Liberian death is magnified more. I think the problem is the disease, was quick to enter the capital, Monrovia, where, a city of over 1 million people, nearly 2 million people, congested, and then, a country coming from war where the infrastructure, the basic services, are essentially broken and being rebuilt. So, that has been the challenge. Once the disease entered the city, and, in various neighborhoods, it just began to spread because it's a matter of some of the traditional practices.
Yeah.
When, a person is sick, they have to be attended to. Initially, it's important to point this out. Initially, women constituted, a significant number of victims because they are traditionally the caregiver.
Yes.
When the child is sick, they go to the mom. When the father is sick, it's the mom who cares. So from the beginning, it was about 75% of women, according to the report. But that trend is now changing.
Okay. And I know that there are 15 counties in Liberia. Can you tell us about the spread of it? Has it gone to all of the counties, or is it just a particular number of counties?
Well, it is pleasing to note that, as of, up to date, only 10 counties, 10 of the 15 counties were confirmed to have, the spread of this virus.
How does this, in your mind, impact all of the economic development that is taking place, primarily in West Africa and South Africa, and some of the fear that may be circulating around the globe regarding a potential collapse if we are not able to contain this virus?
My goodness, words are inadequate to express. And I just, hope that, a lot of the predictions that are being made will not come true. And that will only be based on the effort that the international community put into this process now. The economic impact is just, unbelievable. Take, for example, Liberia, a country that suffered nearly 15 years of atrocious war. And over the past 10 years of sustainable peace, this country has rebuilt. Billions of dollars worth of foreign investments have come into the country. And there has been a lot of progress. Many mining concessions have come in, and many corporations have come in. Liberia was on the boom. Liberia was one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The country has benefited from the HIPIC initiative of debt forgiveness, where you have more than $5 billion worth of debt this country owed to the international community being waived, and a lot of reforms being put in place. I can speak to this because I was in Liberia during the initial stage of the rebuilding following the end of the war. As you indicated, I served as a Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, coordinating media activities and trying trying to create public awareness about the development initiative and moving the country forward, helping our people to keep hope in the midst of the devastation we have suffered.
Yes.
That there was hope for progress. And indeed, Liberia has made significant progress over the past 10 years. All of those progress, I can say, we stand a risk of all that progress being eroded as a result of this Ebola scourge.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I know that regarding things that are taking place in the United States, you've got a partnership going with the ambassador to put some things in place for a warehouse that's in Baltimore and sending over supplies and utensils and all sorts of resources to help people over there. Can you share some information about that?
Indeed. Following the escalation of the disease in July, when it really appeared that, we had to do something, the government began to take more strenuous actions. Because, this is a disease nobody knew, it never happened before. So, it just called our countries, especially as weak as we are, of course, the international community was called off guard. So by July, it became very clear that this pandemic, special effort, special initiative had to be undertaken. In Liberia, the government set up a national task force headed by the president to combat this disease. That task force is working with the WHO and all of the international partners in dealing with this matter. Of course, with the tremendous United States intervention now, it is just a shot in the arm. In July, as a result of the escalation of the disease, as I indicated, and the ambassador here, Ambassador Jeremiah C. Sulonte, Liberia's ambassador to the United States, set up a special committee here at the embassy that he chairs. And that committee has been working as much as possible, liaising with United States government authorities, partners of Liberia, friends of Liberia, in how we can harness resources and all of the goodwill, to accelerate the process of combating this disease. That committee has been working. We are in partnership with Global Health Ministry. It is a United States-based organization in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They have been working in Liberia for decades, and they have been working with us in terms of, the shipment of medical supplies. Mm-hmm. We are also in partnership with different other groups to airlift some materials. As a matter of fact, just this week, some materials were airlifted from our warehouse that you just mentioned in Baltimore. The embassy is receiving, donation here on our premises on the ground of the embassy right here in Washington D.C. And those who have supplies and support, you can come here and we'll be delighted to receive it or collect it and then take it to our warehouse for onward movement transportation to Liberia. Better still, there are numerous American-based charity organizations that are involved.
Yes.
Samaritan's Purse, and many MSF, Medicine Sans Frontières, many other organizations that are involved in the effort in Liberia, and these organizations can also be contacted to leverage support towards Liberia.
Yeah, and then for the actual quarantine centers that are in place in Liberia, I know there's a lot of formal and informal things that are taking place, but for those quarantine centers, I understand that you all have opened up a new one, or you will soon be?
Yes, there have been a lot of efforts. One of the challenges, as I indicated earlier, being able to communicate to the people and providing the right information to get them to these testing centers, quarantine centers, once they feel, that, they're feeling illness, symptoms that are related to this disease. But the challenge along the way was we ran out of, quarantine centers. And what the government has been doing now is to accelerate that process. Just this weekend, a new 150-bed quarantine center was dedicated. That is one of several that has been fast-tracked in various parts of the country, to provide the emergency services our people need in the overall effort to combat this pandemic.
Yeah. And Gabriel, can you just tell us, in reference to some of the supplies that you are collecting here in Baltimore, what are those? Do you have just a quick list of some of the things that people can start thinking about preparing to send or deliver?
Yes. I will refer your listeners to the embassy's website, where we have a list. But we surgical gloves, sanitizers, the surgical overalls, that people use in the hospitals, those suits that look like space suit that people see, and the specifications of some of these materials are on our website.
Okay.
If you like, I can give the website address. And once the listener goes there, they go to the Ebola tab. Once you click on the Ebola tab, you will be able to get some basic information and contact information.
Great.
And the address is the Liberian Embassy website, and that's www.liberianembassy.us.org.
Great.
Liberian, LIBERIANEMBASSY.US.org.
Great.
And they will be able to get more detailed information on the specifications of materials.
Great. Awesome. And is there also a phone number that people can call as well if they have other questions?
Yes. There are still, if anyone of interest may call the embassy, and the number is 202-723-0437.
Great. Thank you so much, Gabriel. I've been spending time with Gabriel Williams, who's the Minister Counselor for Press and Public Affairs. He's in charge of public diplomacy for the Embassy of the Republic of Liberia, stationed in the United States in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for your time today, Gabriel. And we may check back in with you again to see how the progress for combating this virus is coming along. I covered this story because I care about economic development, both in the United States and globally. I am very, very excited about all of the economic development that has been taking place in Africa and primarily in West Africa. And I want to be able to contribute to it as much as I can by helping others who have a message to share, spread it throughout my network, both of small business owners and entrepreneurs who are interested in global development as well. So thank you again, Gabriel, for spending time with me today on this special report.
A parting words, you talk about the beauty and the potential of Africa, Liberia. I am telling you. Take, for example, Liberia, a country that has the remaining 43% of the remaining rainforest in the West African sub-region, with unique plant and animal species, including the pygmy hippopotamus. Just this week, good news out of Liberia is that an agreement has been signed where Norway is going to provide a certain amount, I think it's $1 billion, to help in Liberia preserve our virgin forest, which is one of the unique last remaining rainforests in that region. A country of white sandy beaches. I mean, this is a very beautiful country, well endowed with resources, and it's just a shame and unfortunate that while we were trying to rebuild and showcase the potential of our beautiful country and well-rich country, this Ebola came. But I know that for sure, with the help of our international partners, the United States, and the people of the United States and the world, with their support, and people like you who are trying to create awareness, Liberia, Africa shall get out of Ebola, and the focus of Africa being the next frontier for economic development and progress will continue. Ebola will not stop it. It will never succeed. Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and the rest of the sub-region shall overcome, and the economic potential of those countries will be the showcase.
Wonderful. There you have it, folks. You heard it from him, Gabriel Williams, Minister Counselor for Press and Public Affairs in charge of public diplomacy with the Embassy of the Republic of Liberia in the United States. Thank you again for spending time with me today, Gabriel. I appreciate it. This has been a special report of the AKIA Garnett Show.
Thank you.
Garnett Show, teaching strategies that you need, empowering you to succeed. recreate. The AKIA GARNETT Show. Inspiration, motivation. The AKIA GARNET Show. Recreation, reformation. The AKIA GARNET Show. Dedication, expectation. The AKIA GARNET Show.
Interested in finding out more information about AKIA Garnett? Visit me online, www.akiagarnett.com. Thank you, and remember to think big.